This is the GTN Show. Welcome. And yes, as you can see, the boys have left me. They've disappeared to sunnier climes in Lanzarote, but we're going to be hearing from them. They are going to be speaking to the pros, as well as giving us their opinions on some of your great photos that you've sent in. We've also got a competition winner to announce. We've got a brand new caption competition. And now that the year is back into full swing, we've also got some race news. To get things started this week, we are going to head straight to Lanzarote to catch up with Mark and Fraser.
Hello from Lanzarote. We have more or less just landed here. We're ready to hit some exciting filming this week. We've got lots of pro content, lots of volcanic rock, and lots of wind.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, we do love it here, and rumour has it, it's a pretty good place for doing some YouTube videos.
Yeah, I mean, we have done countless training camps here ourselves. We've done loads of other videos here on the island. We absolutely love it here. And this week, I'm going to put it out there. I think we have our best pro video to date to come from this trip.
Yeah, you've bigged it up now, Mark, but might sell it a little bit more if you guys realise that we are going to be involved in it.
Yeah, and hurting a lot. Aside from that, though, today we thought we'd discuss cross-training within triathlon. I'm not talking about those cross-trainer gym machines. I'm talking about sports other than swim, bike, and run, and still have a benefit and transfer to triathlon to some extent.
Yeah, we've spoken in the past about pros doing things like mountain biking quite a lot to mix up what they're doing, but there are a lot of other cross-training activities out there that you can look at and have a think about doing.
Yeah, and more recently we've spotted pros doing some completely different sports, and we've tried to compile a bit of a list here in no particular order, and they might appeal to you, maybe depending on the climate that you're in or certain limitations that you have at this time of year. So, in no particular order, let's get stuck into it. So we've got cross-country skiing or Nordic skiing. I mean, obviously, skiing is great fun in the snow, and if you are stuck in snow at the moment, then it's a good alternative. But how about cross-country or Nordic skiing?
Yeah, I mean, I've never done cross-country skiing. I grew up doing alpine skiing things when I was a kid, but we see an awful lot of pros now using cross-country skiing in the winter. Northern European based, to be fair. Athletes giving that a go to do a lot of endurance-based work rather than being on the bike.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, cross-country skiers are arguably some of the fittest athletes out there, cardiovascularly, but also the strength element to it all. I mean, I've done a little bit in the past, and it's hard work. And we've seen like Jesse Thomas is doing quite a lot. He always does it every year, living in Bend, is covered in snow at the moment, and he often is posting photos, and he's actually saying he's trying to do a Nordic skiing race at the moment. So that's really interesting.
It is, and I agree. It's got so much sort of cardiovascular crossover, and what you get benefit-wise from that definitely transfers into riding. And I remember racing back in sort of March time, and there was athletes that would come straight into those races that had been training on cross-country skis and barely touching their bike, but they were still riding really, really well in those races.
That's fantastic. Another alternative is mountain biking. I mean, we both love mountain biking, don't we?
Yeah, I grew up doing that as well. I think it's just fun to get out on a bike but not having the pressure of having to be on your road bike or your TT bike. So again, at this time of year, we're seeing a lot of people. We've talked about pros, but we did notice just this weekend some like Tim Reid, former World 70.3 champion, getting out on his e-mountain bike.
Yeah, that's really interesting, e-mountain bike. I mean, don't see many pros doing e-mountain biking.
No, I think his sponsors are looking after him quite nicely there.
But also, I guess, like, if you've been training hard, you've been doing run sessions, they're actually just going out for a little pootle on the e-mountain bike, assisted, might be quite nice. But actually, mountain biking is brilliant as not only like a mental break from the norm, but also it's the technical ability, you're enhancing that and helping that, but also you almost get like a stochastic workout on the mountain bike. So if you are looking for a hard workout, there's kind of like a natural fartlek where you're trying to surge over climbs, over routes, that kind of thing. So it's a really good workout actually, and obviously different from the norm. Okay, this next one though, maybe a little bit controversial, but hear me out. Hiking.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You're still getting out there, fresh air, getting time on your feet. You're just doing something that probably doesn't put a huge amount of load through the body, but you know, it gets us out. It can be some sort of training that we can actually feel probably more mentally refreshed from than anything.
Absolutely. I mean, I know it is a little bit slow-paced from the norm with triathlon, but yeah, like you say, it's a lot more sociable. If you have got a family, then actually this is an opportunity at this time of the year to get stuck into doing stuff together, go out, explore places. Before you get stuck into that, the hard training, going into the season. We've actually seen Luke McKenzie doing that with his family recently. That's really nice. You know,
it is, yeah. It's just something that involves everybody. It doesn't mean you're that selfish athlete all of the time.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I actually find going for a walk absolutely knackering.
Yeah, I think it rates as well.
I'd rather go for a run than go for a long walk sometimes.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
All right, similarly to mountain biking, we've also got cyclocross. This is becoming really popular, more and more so as the years go on.
Yeah, I wish that cyclocross had come in, you know, as popularly as it has a few years ago, because I'd have loved to give that a go. I've ridden the cyclocross a little bit through the winter, just as some basic cross training, but we're seeing a lot of athletes now doing it quite seriously because they can get, as you say, some really good fartlek type works in there, kind of similar to the mountain bike stuff, but a little bit more similar to the road. The position feels a lot similar, obviously. We've seen athletes like Heather Jackson, who's out in her road bike, her cross bike rather than her road bike, doing a lot in Bend up in Oregon, where Jessie Thomas is doing a lot of Nordic skiing as well. So, as you said, depending on where you are in the world.
And also, a very good technical part to it is that the fact that for cyclocross racing and also training, you have to dismount and mount your bike quite regularly if you're trying to go over obstacles. So you're getting your transition practice.
It's a ready-made session thrown in, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. And then finally, let's finish with quite a cool and fun one here. But how about supping, stand-up paddleboarding, and even, for that matter, let's throw in surfing and water sports, because they're all very good for kind of that strength, the core, and yeah, for surfing particularly when you're paddling through the water. That's a very good workout and transfers nicely to swimming.
Oh, if you don't necessarily want to go in the gym and do a core session and work on your balance and proprioception skills, then I definitely think being up in a stand-up paddleboard must be. I mean, it's something I've done very little of, but my word, when I've tried, I've realised how hard that is, and you're definitely aware of a session once you finish, aren't you?
Yeah, and I mean, I absolutely love surfing, and I know that by spending like a couple of hours in the sea, I feel like I've done a mammoth swim set by the end. So there really is quite a benefit there. And we've seen the likes of Craig Alexander doing a lot of supping in the past when he was really, you know, in the middle of his race season, he'd still be supping. So
yeah, and again, that's another thing you can rope the family into. You see lots of cool pictures of folk having the wee ones on the boards and stuff too. So it's just a fun thing to be able to bring into your weekly schedule, I suppose. Yeah,
well, we would love to hear from you guys now. So we're going to throw this to a poll, and we are going to, well, basically get your opinion whether this is something you do already or something you would like to do. So your favourite cross training activity, yeah. So we've got Nordic skiing. We've got, well, we're going to combine mountain biking and cyclocross into one option here.
We've got hiking.
And then water sports for the supping, the surfing and whatnot. And then finally, we'll have other. There's something else that you do. So if you do go for that, just click other and let us know in the comments section below. And now for last week's poll, we asked you which of our 2019 predictions do you think is most likely?
Well, your own predictions came in the bottom of the pile with a 6%, but thanks for those.
And then Fraser bigging up a Scot triathlete, that came in at 16%. And we do need to clarify here, someone did ask, your opinion for Fraser to big up a Scot, does he ride a Scot bike or do you mean a Scot? So yeah, we mean a Scot athlete.
With one T, singular T.
And then at 36%, we had new strategy for Lionel Sanders. He does change his mind quite a lot.
Yeah, hopefully not this year though, fingers crossed, Lionel. And topping the poll, winner there was, and I'm a little bit I think we're going to be okay, but anyway, you guys think that Mark going out too hard at Norseman is a definite at 42%.
I'm going to go out too hard, but of course I'm going to maintain that.
Yeah, so, going to win.
Yeah, exactly. No, maybe I should get that out of my mind now. I definitely don't think I'm going to go out too hard at Norseman. I'm well aware of what I've signed up to.
First Ironman. First Ironman.
Yeah. But yeah, those fantastic results. And now back to you, Heather.
Well, it is time to announce a competition winner. Now, a while ago, we had a competition open for the Enve 5.6 wheel set. And it's time to announce our very lucky winner, and that is Roger Melendez. Congratulations, Roger. It's now time for race news. The very first race news for 2019. And it was Ironman 70.3 Pucon over in Chile that saw the Chileans dominate. On the women's side, it was a group of 3 who came out of the water together, led by Macarena Salazar, but closely followed by her teammate Barbara Riveros and Alicia Kay. And those 3 worked together on the bike, so it came down to a running race. And it was Barbara Riveros who went away with the win to have a winning margin of 5 minutes, 55 seconds ahead of American Americans Alicia Kay, and then third place, it was fellow Chilean Macarena Salazar. And in the men's race, it was Felipe Barraza who led out in front of a home crowd of the swim with a lead of over a minute ahead of Andy Potts. But then on the bike, it was the fastest bike split by San Diego Ascenso, who came up through the field, and it turned into another running race. But he also got the fastest run of the day to take the overall win. Andy Potts finished second, and then it was Felipe Barraza in third. There was also racing over in New Zealand on the weekend, and it was the Port of Tauranga half, which attracted a strong field. The men's race was won by Mike Phillips, and the women's by Hannah Wells. Well, that's it for race news, and I think it's time we heard from Mark and Fraser again.
Right, it is us here again in Lanzarote, and now it's time to have a look at all your uploads and pain caves and pictures that you've sent in. Now, holding back on what we looked at last week, Mark was away, and I know how much he loves his tech, so I really didn't want him to miss out on this thing that, well, Heather and I had a good chat about last week, so...
I am so glad you've included this, because I did see it in last week's show, and I was very disappointed not to be there. The soft ride and the zip bike, they're incredible. What a pair of bikes to own, eh?
Oh, I mean, to have a set of beam bikes like that really, I mean, they should be in a museum. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and they look in incredible condition still. Like, they're still rideable, they're fully built up. Because often what you see with, like, these soft ride bikes is someone's taken all the parts off and they're just sat in the frame.
Yeah, it's a sort of sad, forlorn-looking relic of the past. But Rory, your mum at 77 years old, I am really quite impressed.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
incredible. And the thing I really like, so on the soft ride bike, they've got literally the original setup, and this is something I'd like to look at in more detail, but they've got, it's almost like a grip shift or something at the end. So I've never actually seen it up close in person. So if anyone,
Oh,
so,
you're making me feel old, because I used to have that on my mountain bike.
Well, I had one on my mountain bike, but I'd love to see it on the end of some TT shifters. So that's really cool. But yeah, all built up in its glory, still working, fantastic. So yeah, if anyone else does have some of these vintage soft ride bikes out there, or beam bikes, then please do send them in, because they're just, you know.
Yeah, I think you can tell we really do like looking at this stuff. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, moving on now, we have got a lovely pain cave here from Madeline. She's got, well, she says her Scott Addict, but we're trying to zoom in on.
We think it must be a Specialized.
It does look like
suspiciously like a Specialized to us. So.
I mean, I might be wrong on that as well, but
either way, very
nice pain cave.
Lots of stuff in there, shoe rack, medals, the beginning of some numbers up on the wall.
It's very, very well organised, isn't it? I mean, yeah, that shoe rack, and it's all very succinct. It's yeah, very, very nice, and great sort of gym setup for you to do all sorts there. And it's just the beginning, apparently, of her biggest pain.
She says the biggest pain cave we've ever seen, so I'm looking forward. There must be a lot behind the camera, I'm thinking. But yeah, thanks for sending that in.
That's awesome. Next one from Caven.
Interesting name, yeah.
Yeah, so got two Argon 18s. We've got an Argon 18 road bike, which is the Nitrogen Pro, and then also the E119 Tri Plus, which is a lovely bike.
And happily, a couple of screens both sporting our logo, which is nice.
Yes, very nice. And a treadmill. We are seeing so many treadmills now in pain caves. It's, I mean, it's really taking off people having this sort of treadmill bike.
It is, and I can see why, because there's just something so efficient about having, especially in wintertime, having a treadmill there ready to go. You can just use whatever time you've got available to the maximum and get what, you know, if you've got half an hour, then that's what you've got. If you've got a bit more, then you can just get it done, and that's what's so useful about the run, isn't it?
I mean, the only time I've ever done this is when I actually stayed at Susie Cheatham's house, and she had it there, and I was like, this is revolutionary. This is amazing. You just get everything done, and it's so simple. I can see why everyone's doing it. Fantastic. And then finally, we have this one here from Janie. She says it's, or he, sorry.
In Norfolk, here in the UK?
Yeah, it said,
not here, in the UK.
My first ever road bike used for, well, it's a Giant SCR. So yeah, very nice.
Nice little setup in the garage, everything you need there. You got the turbo and little gym set up with the Swiss ball, and kettlebells and good stuff.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, and as always, please do keep sending in your photos, your bikes, your pain caves, some of those beam bikes and all those vintage bikes. But before we do go and we head back to Heather, we just want to talk very briefly about GTN's upcoming Mallorca training camp. This is quite an exciting...
Oh, it sounds super exciting. It's like a 4-day trip, isn't it?
It is, from the 20th to the 24th of March, and you if you do want to go, just head on over to gcnevents.co and you can stay in a 5-star accommodation in Alcudia. I mean, Alcudia is a fantastic place to do a training camp from. But you'll also be spending with the GCN guys who are great fun, and you'll be doing all sorts on each day. You'll be doing some amazing routes around the island, get to have parties in the evening, pub quizzes, and you'll be finishing the whole trip with the KOM Challenge.
And there's a live show going to get filmed?
There is, their first ever live show. So as I said before, head on over to gcnevents.co. But that's it for us from Lanzarote. Over to you, Heather.
Well, I really do appreciate the boys taking time out from their holiday. Sorry, I mean busy, packed shooting schedule. But sticking with photos, it's now time for us to have a look at last week's Caption A Competition, and it was this picture from Carrie Lester. Apparently just about to cross the finish line, but we had some interesting caption suggestions. I've whittled it down to my 3 favourites, and coming in 3rd place, it's from Christian Weaver. It says, don't stop, oh, I want to sing, but I can't. Don't stop me now, I'm not going to do it. Don't worry guys, you're safe on this one. The runner-up though was Martin Smith. As a theme, there's quite a few along this theme here. Dental health is very important. I floss twice a day. But the winner is Lolo Lex. Well, my dentist did say to floss. Well, well done Lolo, you'll be getting one of these GTN caps, so just get in touch with us for that one. And if you still want a chance to win one of our GTN caps, then now is your chance, because we've got another picture for this week's caption competition. And it is Heather Jackson from the Ironman 70.3 in Arizona, November 18 last year. And I think there's a bit of a similar theme going on here. And I'm not going to do any singing, don't worry. But to me, it looks like she's sort of holding an imaginary microphone. But I've checked the picture pretty well, and I don't think anyone's photoshopped that one out. But do let us know what caption suggestions you have in the comments section below. If, like me, you are struggling for a little bit of motivation this January, I personally find that new kit is a great way to make me want to go out on my bike or head out running. So, looking for that inspiration, why not head to the GTN shop and find yourself some nice new cycling kit, or a nice jumper maybe for when you finish back from your training session. If you've enjoyed this week's show, hit that thumb up like button and subscribe to make sure you get all of our videos here at GTN. And if you are sat on the sofa at home and feeling motivated looking at your season ahead, but you're not sure how to go about it, we have made a video on how to pick your A race or your goal race and how to structure the rest of your season. And you can find that one just here. And if, like me, you enjoy a little bit of baking, but you want to fuel those long rides that you've got planned, I've made some bike fuel, and the recipe you can find just down here.